Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Get in Tune. I'm Michael Gracia, and number one, need to apologize for starting a few minutes late. It has been a crazy day for everyone today, and my lighting is terrible. I just noticed. Let's bring that in, little Ray up there. Okay, whatever. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in tonight. I have a great show planned. Um, I got a bunch of returning guests, but we have something really cool going on. But before we begin, the usual plugs over here. Zorro's Swordplay and Romance up on Amazon and on boldventurepress.com. I illustrated one story in here. If you look up Zorro's Exploits, which I believe is on the other side of me somewhere, you can get that as well, both places. Also, don't forget to go to A Kid in a Comic, holding it weird, kidinacomic.com. You can sign up, get a subscription to this newspaper that is fantastic, filled with tons and tons of comics, because that's all it is. A bunch of different great artists in there, a few really good friends of the show, others I'm bringing on to the show here. It is going to be great. And the Wiz appears in here and will continue to appear in here. So I'm going to let someone else really explain why we're all gathering tonight. So let me just bring on everybody. So returning to the show, we have David Abrevaya, hey, Eli Hernandez, and Edwin Sanchez, also known as Enochseasel.
Hello, good sir.
Hello. How are you
Hi,
all
everybody.
doing? How you all doing tonight?
Doing well.
Good to hear.
Thanks for having us back.
Oh, anytime. So, the reason I'm bringing you all on, and we're going to get into who all you are in a moment, and we're going to talk about a few things. But before that, there is what is known as a Comic Salon happening this Tuesday at the BeanRunner in Peekskilll, New York, located on 201 South Division Street. All right. And I want to know how that came about, and then I want everyone to find out who you are. So whoever brought this kind of idea together, please.
All right, Eli, you want me to go?
Sure, if you want.
Okay. All right. So, back in college, back in those days, I used to have a professor. Actually, there was a professor named Carla Rae Johnson, who recently contacted me and asked me if I wanted to put on a salon, comics salon, basically a comics talk at the BeanRunner. And I told her that I was definitely interested. And she basically gave me the full reins to kind of invite people and to set the show up the way that I think it should be run, which was very gracious of her. Not only is she a wonderful human being, but she's a master, a true master of the arts, especially of charcoal, a great inspiration of mine. And I wanted to bring us all together because I think that everybody on here has the potential to hit extremely hard. And we have great people that want to follow us and want to get to know us a little bit better. And yeah, I love you guys, and I want to do something great with you guys. So that's why I invited you guys to do this with me. And as for the Comic Salon, we're basically going to be bringing our portfolios with us. A nice book would be just to show people our artwork. We're going to be presenting a few pieces of things that we've done, things that we are doing, and current projects. We're also going to be able to talk about our process, and yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be Tuesday, June 17th, from 6 to 8. So it's 2 hours. And one other thing that we've kind of done to make this show so special is we're actually giving away a collector's item. Each of us have created a comic to celebrate this event. And that night we're going to be signing we're going to be signing little commemorative postcards that we've all created. One side with our comic, the other side with our self-portrait, and you're able to send that to somebody, or if you want, you can keep it. But we're going to be signing those that night. And yeah, I think that pretty much sums up the event.
Sounds like it's going to be a fun night for all of us and for those who attend. You know, I have just personally, for everyone who's watching, I've taught for 20 plus years. I have been doing comics mostly, you know, really in the indie world since 97. I've been working as a professional artist since 94. So I have a lot to talk about, I think. And you know, I sit alone in my studio all day long, so it's nice to be able to step out and talk about one of my passions, you know. Now I kind of want to go last because obviously this is my show and you guys are the stars tonight. I'd like everyone to just kind of go around, talk a little bit about who you are and what, you know, what kind of work you do, and, you know, what, if you're known for anything, maybe what you're known for. David, do you want to start since you brought us all together?
Sure. You're going to have me talk twice, huh?
Yes.
Okay, so my name is David Abrevaya. I am currently the Peekskill bid artist chairman. So I'm on the board of directors. I'm also a PAA member, also on the board of directors. And I'm also a professor at WCC, teaching illustration, comics, storyboards, and character design for a certificate course. It's a really intense course that basically turns you from where you are to a published artist. Really, really incredible program that me and Emmanuel have built at the college, Emmanuel Jacques. So currently a resident in Peekskill, working as a art advocate to bring about amazing events. I'm not exclusive to Peekskill, obviously, because I think next year I want to do Undiscovered Realm Comic-Con, and to do the Portchester Arts Festival was a true honor this year. Just to mention a few current projects that I've worked on. Right now, I've been working pretty much as a director. So the first of this season is the Castle Crashers that we put on. Eli was a part of that, which was a lot of fun. And Michael, thank you for attending.
Oh, happy to.
I hope that Eli had fun as a person who was tabling, and you had fun just visiting.
Visiting and buying, by the way. I did
Oh,
buy
yes.
some work from people there.
Thank you very much. I think you got my Godzilla, right?
It's hanging up right on the wall over there next to me. I just can't, if I turn the camera, it's just going to be a mess. So I'll show it one other day. I'll take a nice photo one day and post it.
That's okay. Now, the next thing I'm going to mention is the Peekskill Open Studios. We opened up an artist alley inspired by Comic-Con's Artist Alley, where we got a bunch of artists together, pretty much illustration and comics-based artists, to exhibit their stuff at the Lofts on Main in the lobby. Lots of art. Lots of people came through. It was incredible this year. So that's really the poster that I have behind me. That's all of the artists that were there. Cheyenne Gaither, Eli Hernandez, obviously, Jack Hopkins, and Juliet. I'm so sorry. Your last name is I can't get it. And also Jojo, which also has another hard name. But they're all listed on my Instagram. So we put on an event for all of them and for Open Studios to bring a huge buzz to the city, and also bring eyes to the Lofts on Main. And as of right now, I'm illustrating a comic that Eli has written called The Void. So that's a surprise we're going to be showing everybody during pretty much at the end of July.
That sounds great.
Sorry, I know I said a lot, but
no, it's okay. It's okay. Let's move on to Eli, and then we'll go to Edwin. Yeah.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. I'm Eli. And I'm more of an illustrator than a comic artist, but I've always loved comics. The last time I spoke about my work was with Michael here on the show, which was really cool. And I would have to say that probably the most memorable work I've done. I feel like everyone always gravitates towards this one illustration I did called The Raven, which I can share on my Instagram. I probably might talk about it during the Comic Salon, ironically, because it just captures a lot of people. And my most recent project, which is Inkling, which is an art book for my Inktober series this past year. But a few projects I'm working on separately are from SVA, the School of Visual Arts, a project
Eli.
that I really loved.
Eli,
And
1 second. I'm not too sure if you guys are getting the same thing, but she's coming in a little blurry for me.
Yeah, blurry. I was hearing a little crackle in her mic.
Oh, yeah.
Is there a crackle in my mic?
Yeah.
Ew.
Just a little bit, but
Is
I
it
didn't know.
better?
That's why it could have been my earphone. Say it
No,
again?
I'm getting it too.
Is it the same thing?
No.
You sound a little bit better now.
Yeah, you sound better now. Yeah, you'll be
Is
fine.
it better?
Oh yeah.
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 Okay. Redo.
Much better.
All right. Hello, everyone. No, I'm just kidding. I'm Eli. Hello. If in case that crowd crackled out, my most memorable project is me having a muffled microphone, apparently, on the show. I'm just kidding. I was talking briefly about a piece that is a little bit more memorable from past shows, which again I did do the Castle Crashers at Portchester and the I'm blanking out now, the This Alley at Peekskilll. But even last year, the Raven has been something that people have gravitated towards for a long time. Again, you can probably find it on my Instagram and on my website. We'll be showing it at the event, the 17th at the comic shop. And I'm more of an illustrator than a comic book artist, but I do have a passion for comics. I think when I first started drawing, which even though I've done it for a long time and I did refuse the call, I believe we talked about this, Michael, on your last show. I refused the call because my dad had to call me out and say, "Oh, you're so talented," and I was like, "No, Dad, I'm not being an artist because you said so." But eventually, after when I decided to pick up art as a passion, as a hobby, and then later a career, comics did have a big part of that. I didn't traditionally grow up with Superman or anything like that. I grew up with more Japanese manga because, of course, I did. So I did like that format and style. So I did introduce that into my training. And then eventually going more into indie comics than anything. And I think now I'm really appreciating superheroes because I'm finding more, not the pulpy superheroes, more of the story-driven works now. And yeah, just building my library as I go. I'm definitely fresh. I won't say I'm very seasoned as a comic book artist, but I do want to dive into more projects. Devil's Reign has definitely gotten my feet wet as a colorist and a letterer. And as David mentioned, now I'm starting to write a little bit more and make my own stories. So The Void is one that I'm just a writer on, but this other one called Bloodline is one that I've written in SVA. This is before my mic decided to click out, so I'm going back to that. But I wrote it a few years ago, and I'm deciding to bring it to fruition now with the story and fleshing it out as an illustrator, color, like the whole shabam, just doing it on my own. But it's not going to be a full graphic novel. It's going to be a little shorter, just so I can, again, get my feet wet, because I do know that a full-on comic story, doing it by yourself, is a lot of work, which we'll be talking about that maybe here and at the salon, how comic books is not just something, it's like, oh, I'm just going to do it, and yay. It's like, no, it takes months, if not years of preparation. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm excited to start that project now, even though it's been a few years since I've picked it up. So exciting stuff. So yeah.
Nice. All right, Edwin.
Hey guys, do you hear me correctly? I just want to.
No.
Okay.
You're good.
You know what?
I'm just making sure. No, not trying to throw shade, but just want to make sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Edwin Sanchez. My pen name is Enoch for Enochseasel is my page on Instagram, and I'm an illustrator. Um, I love comics. I make my own personal comics as well. And the I have to say the lifestyle of an artist is more of just a spiritual journey for me. I never really cared in recent time to make it as a profession. It's been more of just this connection I've always had with art ever since I was a child. It's always been like a call for me, and luckily I had a good support group growing up that has really pushed me down that path. And luckily I've been able to financially support myself outside of the art world, which has been kind of a blessing personally for me because I've just been able to be financially stable while also pursuing this path that I feel like I want to go on for the rest of my life. Um, but with that being said, I've made comics. I've made a lot of my own illustrations. A lot of my stuff is based in the genre of fantasy. I've recently had the opportunity of having my artwork shown in a gallery in here in I'm from the Bronx, so it's a space called the Bronx Art Space in the South Bronx that where I was able to show a series of illustrations that depicted the hero's journey that I was very very happy to show. It went very well, and one of the in that experience, I felt that one of the biggest things I kind of want to bring to spaces is this sense of sequential art in in the world of the arts. Like kind of like what Eli's saying, if people don't know how hard it is to really make comics or even just create a story and a set of images that sit next to each other and tell a story. And I find that it's something that I find extremely beautiful, and it's something that I feel like everyone connects to in the world. Then I've been graced the opportunity to kind of start to show it in like gallery spaces and what it's like to have sequential images and in these spaces and having them be something that can be very profound rather than just a like a book for people. These things are just as valuable as fine art pieces, and I would love to be able to explore that more in that fine art world. Luckily, I was just given the opportunity of having my own solo gallery at the end of the summer in August, where I will be showcasing a new series that is I won't say yet. I will be announcing it soon, probably in the middle of the summer. But it will be a sequential based story about that is fantasy related in the fine art world. So I'm very very excited to do that.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I guess it's my turn.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yep.
Very excited.
Yes. I'll try to make mine quick. So I have been an artist my entire life. I fell in love with animation first before getting involved in comics. I think most of us, or most people, are exposed to, things like Superman and stuff, at least in my age group, from like the Super Friends cartoons and things like that. So I was always drawing, I was always watching these things, and then eventually I moved into comics. It first started in comic strips, which I think is where my true comic passion lies. And then it went into superheroes in '86 with the introduction of Crisis on Infinite Earths. My cousin was a collector. I read Crisis because I always leaned more DC, watching the Super Friends. I knew who the characters kind of were. Um, anyway, that's basically my childhood. I started collecting in '89, and because I loved animation, I watched everything. I watched American cartoons, anime, whatever, wherever they came from. And I was always really a big like fan of the Smurfs. Love the Smurfs. that when I had a friend in high school, he spent the summer in Germany, and he came back with a German version of Asterix for me, and I've never seen Asterix before, and I fell in love with him. I didn't understand the story, but I found some American version that led me into Tintin and all the other Franco-Belgian comics and whatnot. So I basically have read everything throughout my life. Anyway, I got my first gig in '94 in my first semester of college, where I was actually at Westchester Community College at the Peekskilll campus there, and I was a character designer for an educational video game company. And then I moved on to animating there, and I did some flash animation in the early '90s, early 2000s. But for me, comics began in '97 as part of my career path. And I just remembered I had these. This was my first ash can, and what I'm probably best known for, this is Plunger Pup. All right. And this is the first issue. I only have like this and maybe one other left. But it was the first issue, and it was about a dog who fought crime with a magic plunger. And I drew him for a while as more of a parody book. And then, I just did comics on and off while I worked and taught. And the one thing I taught a lot of was a visual storytelling class. So to me, story is the most important thing, and I just love telling them through comics. I have a knack for doing humor comics, and if you guys follow me, you know I drew The Wiz and wrote him for 2 years straight, never missing a Wednesday release date. There's then now I stopped him because I'm working on my first manga, which I'm hoping to have the whole thing completed by the early new year, so I can have it released, and hoping to start on him very soon to bring him back. And that's me, with a lot short, condensed.
All right. We couldn't tell that you were a Superman fan.
Oh no, Superman. He's my guest favorite. I mean, I got little.
Are you guys excited for the Superman movie?
Oh, you don't want to start me on that.
Oh no. Michael's got his own opinions right there.
Yeah, listen. It's not that I'm anti the movie. Yeah. And I won't go into it because I know you and I could have a lot of, I'm talking David and I can have a lot of discussion. I'm kind of not a fan of James Gunn. Okay. That's really what it is for me. I think the actors are great. I think the actor playing Superman looks the part, like fantastic. I'm not sure about the costume, but he looks the part. I always am disappointed in what Gunn does. So that's really my issue with it. So I won't go into all the details and complaints and other things.
I think the movie looks great. I think unlike Michael, I've enjoyed James Gunn's films. The new trailer looks pretty freaking wicked, I have to say. I love the building coming down, like a little nod to like the old Fleischman films. So I'm very excited to see that scene. I'm more optimistic. So I guess we'll get more of the Kingdom Come Superman from Michael and more of the just normal Superman from me. I'm optimistic. But I still have to see it, DC has been, a little crazy lately. Yeah. So I'm excited. I liked the beginning of Creature Commandos. Not so much a fan of the way it ended, but I think it has potential. The movie looks very interesting and fun.
The only other thing I just wanted to add is today is June 11th, which, by the way, it's my mom's birthday. Happy birthday, Mom.
Oh, happy birthday, Mom.
But it is 1 month to the release date of Superman. And with all my negativity towards Gunn, I do plan to actually take the day off of work, and I do plan to go opening day because Superman is my favorite character. And I'm willing to give it a chance. I'm trying to go in with no premeditated hatred towards it or anything. Like I said, I like the actors. I think, things could have potential. It's just there are things that I'm a little nitpicky on.
Going in with grace.
Yeah, but it's it also comes down to passion. I think that's a lot of it. You get angry when you're passionate about something.
For sure.
So
Especially Superman. Superman is such a I've actually, it's funny. I've grown to as an adult. I've grown to love Superman. As a kid, it was always kind of so thrown in my face. I was like, oh, Superman, Superman. But now that as I kind of understood Superman's character more as I got older, I'm like, wow, what a true ray of light of a character. Like there's so many characters now. It's like, I guess within like maybe more than a decade, it's always been that this nuanced, like gray character. It's like you don't really know if they're good or bad. It's the choices they make. He's just truly good and he's truly righteous. It's as old of a character as he is. It's almost like a breath of fresh air to see it to look at a character like that. So it's great to appreciate him as an adult.
I agree.
Yeah, no, it's great, and I think more people need him. When you look at certain characters out there, this is the thing. Everybody constantly is like, "Oh, he's too powerful. He's this. He's too good. He's that." As the world, I think the world kind of saw this after 9/11. We got jaded, and we didn't want heroes like Superman anymore. It was Spider-Man and it was Batman. Everybody wanted the faults. They wanted the darkness. There is no, I think we're at a time now where we need that hope, and not to say Superman represents hope, but there is a hopefulness about him. You know what I mean? Like there is something, and I think it's time for that kind of hero to emerge again. So I'm kind of hoping, even with all my my dislike of James Gunn work, I'm hoping he can bring kind of hope into, make us hopeful again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see with that. So I'm kind of hoping, there's something, and that's why I'll be there opening day.
I agree with that, though. I agree completely.
So let me say hi to a few people. Mel is in the audience. Hi, Mel. And
Hi, Mel.
hello to Dylan. Hey, Dylan.
Hi, Dylan.
Greetings, Dylan.
We have another David. I already put his thing up, but he's enjoying the live stream. But we'll have the NBA Finals on. I don't know anything about what's going on, but I believe
he has the NBA Finals on mute, which he's
We're more important, Michael.
Yeah, I'm glad, and we got his dog Cosmo. Crypto reminds me of his dog Cosmo. I don't know what your dog looks like, but Crypto's always been a great dog and a good character. So, all right, so let's move on. Let's go on and talk a little bit about this event. So either Eli or David, you can tell us kind of what we expect. Oh, Corey Kennedy, an old student of mine. Hey, Corey.
Hey, Corey.
No way, are you serious? Corey's one of your old students?
He was I actually probably taught storytelling to him.
It's a small world. We're all connected.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, Corey.
Hi, Juliet.
So, but yeah. So, who wants to talk about what we can expect on Tuesday when you're in the audience? Not for us, but what is the audience gonna see?
Eli, you want to go or you want me to go?
I was just about to.
Go ahead.
So, I'm so excited. You're probably going to be around like 4 really passionate artists. So, we're basically going to geek out about comics, art, and all that good stuff. And if you're an artist, I'm sure you'll just dive right in. I also don't want it to be just like a 4-sided conversation. I would hope to have the audience interact with us and talk too. Because the talk is not just for us, it's for all of us. Because especially if you are an artist or you're an aspiring comic book artist, especially, I really want this talk to be hopeful, because not only is art a very hard career, but comics especially. And that doesn't mean it's not worthy of being done or it's impossible, but it just means you need a good team. And I really want to emphasize that as independent creators, but also all of us has worked in a team, and just to see how that process is done. Even editing is a big thing too. It's not just, oh, you just have a thing and it's out in the world. It's like, actually there's people who look over the work, and then you have to make edits to it. We'll talk more about it. But to have hope and patience with this craft, and to know that there are more people becoming a little more independent. There's like Webtoon, Kickstarter. There's so much, like there's more ways than just Marvel and DC just to get your work seen. And it's a very hopeful moment in time that we can get this work done and our stories heard. And seeing places like Silver Sprocket bring up more independent comics. Where else is independent comics that I'm thinking of? I'm not sure if Tokyo Pop is around anymore. I have to look, but I think they still are. But they used to take indie stuff. Boom is another place that takes more indie comics, or like smaller stories, and give them a bigger platform to grow on. Yeah, and just meeting people and working on those skills. I feel like that's going to be a lot of fun. Just not only like, geeking out and talking about like storytelling and all that fun stuff, but to like share what the process is really like. It's not smoke and mirrors. It's just really getting down to it and having a team with you. And more times than not, the artist has a team, even if they're just one name. So just sharing that and talking about it.
Well said. Very well said. It's going to be hard to kind of piggyback off that. So one thing I do want to emphasize is that this is a community that we're building, and so far we're getting a lot of traction. One thing that I do want to mention, and I want to just give like a special thank you to, is my friend Thomas Patilli. He's been killing it for a few years, and he's worked on DC books. He's worked on Archie books for covers, and did a graphic novel for DC. And he's just been this wonderful illustrator that's really kind of just been around me. So I originally met him when I was at the School of Visual Arts, and he was sort of a professional practice kind of teacher who came in and kind of really saved the day. And just to see his artwork, I just wanted to promote him out there and pretty much give him the credit that by seeing him do this, I was able to get the confidence to kind of go out there and make this stuff happen for us. So a special thank you to him. I also have his artwork on my wall too. So like, it's a cool guy. Great inspiration. But he's really great at telling stories. And I think everybody here are great at telling stories. And just like what Eli said, comics are very much a team effort. And I think that, I think in like the old saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And I think we're really doing that. And our partnership with Carla Rae and the BeanRunner are, sort of like a start to something really amazing happening. The BeanRunner is a very special place too. They host amazing events. And I'm just honored to do it there as well. So in my capacity, while I'm still the chairman and I'm a director of all of this stuff, I want to bring us there. And I want to build the arts community in Westchester, and to, basically, start a home for us, for storytellers, because we're all collaborators. Whether Edwin were to meet a writer and they kick it off, and they want to start something, or Michael, if you want to start something here too, we need to build that community. And that's the reason why, like, I want this to happen, to not only show off our projects, but to also celebrate others. But one thing I do want to mention is at the BeanRunner, when we're doing this, I want to give an update to Devil's Reign. That's the project that Eli and I are on, where we're working with Rudy Orozco, and to give some insight into the next graphic novel that we've just developed, and our next crowdfunding campaign. So that's something that's going to be really exciting. Rudy did an amazing job with the writing for issues 5 through 8. So I'm excited, very excited to share those updates.
That's
Amazing.
Yeah. And I just want to say, if I have time, I might be bringing something very old school and special to the BeanRunner show. I don't want to announce it at the moment because I don't want to say I'm bringing this and then I don't. But I have something really, really cool I might want to show. You got Thomas in the audience.
Hey, Tom.
Good luck to you all. Hello. And Tom, not to sidetrack, but does he go by Thomas or Tom? What is he like?
I call him Tom. I've known him
Okay. I
for a
just
while
want to know.
now.
So, Tom, just so you know, I emailed you about I don't know, about 2 months ago, maybe, about if you want to come on and chat about what you do, because I love your videos. I love your work. So I follow you and really enjoy your work. So yeah, feel free to come on and we'll talk. Anyway, I want to go to Mel. Is this the same Mel who was a student of mine as well? Just because I distinctly and fondly remember one of my college professors about.
I believe this is a different Mel.
It might be a different Mel.
Mistaken.
Okay. Well, I actually.
She's also another artist. She does.
Yeah.
I believe she's. Yes, because they're both artists, both Mels.
Yeah.
But Mel, your student, does more realism, but
Yeah.
Mel, she does more like Muppet artwork, cartoons. I mean, she's a killer painter too. It's not just like she just does digital work, but the paintings are really spot on.
She's going to be at Undiscovered too.
You're amazing.
Oh,
yeah,
will
she's going to be at Undiscovered.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. I'll be at Undiscovered as well. I was going to talk about that towards the end of the show, but I'll be with the kids section. I'll be doing a workshop, one workshop each day, I think, and I'll just be tabling and selling some of my stuff. But Mel, I want to see your Muppet stuff. I am a huge puppet fan. I actually used to work in puppetry. I used to build and perform like rod puppets and marionettes. Oh, and I miss it a lot, but I love I love puppetry. And I mean, who's not a Muppet fan? Who was it yesterday, I think, or 2 days ago? They finally closed Muppet Vision 3D at Hollywood Studios because they're redoing it, and who knows where it's going. But man, that was one of my favorite things to sit through. Like
Michael,
yeah.
Michael, you don't even know you're speaking her love language right now.
Yes.
I could sit and talk puppetry for you. Actually, last year at the show, I sold an original Pinocchio drawing I did, but I drew him as I drew him as I would have built a marionette, and that's what like he was broken down into kind of into how I design marionettes. Cool. And so and then I had a quote from the book on there. But I remember talking to the guy who bought it, and he was like, I love Pinocchio, I love puppets, but I've never seen one like this. And I explained all the workings of how you could see, like, because I was the guy who taught me. His name was Steve Witterman. He was taught by Bill Bayard. So if you guys know puppetry and know who Bill Bayard is, it's a very cool background I have in puppet making. So, but yeah, anyway, let's see, what is she saying? What's that? Oh, that's cool. I love rod puppets. OMG. What's this? Yeah, it's going to be Monsters Inc. themed area. They'll miss Muppet Vision. I love that. Who else? We could be best friends. Can we be best friends? Let's talk and meet at the show first. Then we'll see. I am looking for a replacement best friend. So I'm kidding. Anyway. And just going through these real quick. I don't want to miss anything really good. Dylan is working on a stop motion animation. I love stop motion. I don't like doing it, but I love watching it.
I have something I want to mention.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Eli, I'm not sure if your mic is muted, but I wanted to bring up the drink and draw. So for anybody who is watching this who lives in Westchester and is close by to Peekskilll, I'm running a drink and draw. It's a lot of fun. That was inspired by a guy named Peter Leeds. He does his drink and draw in Ossining, New York. Mine is in Peekskill, to kind of get people together and to have a great time. So far, the turnout has been incredible. Edwin, I hope that you come one day, and also Michael, I hope you come one day. But it's a lot of fun. It's a great time. And yeah, putting that once a month. Mostly it's the last Friday of every month. So.
Oh, that's good.
I just wanted to mention it.
Yeah, I haven't been to a good like drink and draw or just having a live model in front of me in years. It's been a long time, and I would totally love to come. It's just difficult with my day gig because you start when I officially end. So, and you're a good 45-minute to hour drive depending on traffic. So
yeah.
So it's how much time can I take off of work? I'm taking off for Superman already. I mean, that's no, but I do hope to come up at least to 1 or 2 this year. That's going to be a plan of mine. I just got to wait a little bit because of so many days. I'm even thinking of taking the day after Undiscovered Realm off, just having in case I get Concrud or whatever. It's
oh, it happens every time.
Oh God, it's so tiring.
And you're going to be in the kids section, which means you're definitely going to get the con flu.
Yeah. Well, what happens is, just so you know, if we're set up the way we were, the kids section artists kind of get set up in the celebrity artist section, and then we walk to a room to do our workshops. So I'll leave the table for an hour each day. I think I'm just going to be teaching kids how to draw. I have to look at because I usually do this thing, I call them cartoonatures. Like, I don't caricature well, but I can cartoon you. So since I draw in so many different styles, I'll be like, oh, you like Archie? Okay, I'll draw you in an Archie style. Oh, you like Peanuts? I'll do it in a Peanut style. Like, I'll do that. And if they don't give me a style, I just kind of go traditional Hanna-Barbera because that's kind of my go-to style. But when you're giving it away for free for like an hour straight, you kind of got you really got like 7 minutes or under, so you can knock off a bunch, and that's what kills me, because all of a sudden I'm on and I'm entertaining kids, I'm talking to parents, I'm drawing all at the same time. It's just the most draining hour of my life. I love it.
It's an endurance game.
Like overstimulated.
But you know what? My college students can tell you, and even when I and some of the like high school and elementary school, what I would do is, if I had time and if they were a good class, I would have everybody stand up in a line and I'd literally draw them something in under like a minute. Like, I'd say, give me a character, and I'd just like quickly, it was a quick Sharpie on a piece of paper. It would be like, I don't know, whoever, would be like Superman. I'd just knock it off a minute or two. And I'd try to knock it off like within the last 15 minutes of class, so I could get everybody a little sketch or something.
Well, I saw you work at the Batman Day, Michael. So just to give some context here, Michael.
He's working at Batman Day?
Oh, well, yeah, he was at Batman Day. I think it was a couple years ago, right?
Yes, our mutual friend Ray Felix was putting on a show in honor of Bill Finger at the Poe Park in the Bronx, because Bill Finger was from that area, actually. Mm-hmm. And both David and I had a piece in there, which I think I might finally turn into a print and give it away for free at Undiscovered Realm, because I don't sell prints of characters that I've never worked on professionally. So I will sell original, or I'll give prints away. So I might have a deal. Okay. If you buy a certain something, I'll give you a free print, and that might be one of the prints I give away. So yeah.
So just to finish off the story.
Yeah, sorry.
So that was Edwin and I met that day, and it was a lot of fun. A lot of people came out. Ray did an amazing job with the event. Truly amazing. He got the city to come over. give us all awards and proclamations. It was absolutely phenomenal. One thing I definitely have to say. Oh my goodness, I'm like blanking on like the reason why I brought it up.
Yeah, me drawing Superman.
That's right. Thank you. I'm thinking
Yes.
like, where did I lose it? Right. It's, of course I lost it from Superman to Batman. Of course. So after the event, there was a table that was set up right outside the gallery, and there was an artist over there, and I just look over, and I just see Michael just hovering over a table, just killing it on this Superman piece. Literally drew it in like a minute, and I was like, it was just one of the most incredible pieces I've ever seen you knock out, literally with like zero thought. Pencil and paper, just killed it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I remember because it was a Bruce Timm style Superman. I don't know if you requested or if the artist requested it.
No, it was I think the artist maybe requested it to ink it for someone else. So it was amazing.
Yeah, the artist's name that was there was Chris Duckett. So he was drawing for the kids and having fun and whatever. But yeah, I've known Chris for years. I went over, said hi to him, and he said, sit down, and gave me paper and said, you have to draw. So, so that's how that went. But yeah, let's kind of get back to the salon. I want to kind of really highlight that, make sure people know what they're coming to see. So one of the things that's going to happen there, besides the special postcards that David already spoke about, which is really, really cool, there's going to be a presentation. And I'm sorry, I forgot the name of who's hosting it again.
Carla Rae Johnson.
Carla Rae Johnson. And she's going to be kind of acting as a host and talking to us, whether individually or as a group.
Yeah.
In a way.
So she's going to basically be feeding us questions and giving feedback and just talking and, engaging with us so that, to keep the conversation going.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, no, that'll be fun to have someone other than us kind of asking each other questions. So that'll be cool. Let's just go. We're going to get back to that, but Mel has a question. This might be something, since it seems like the crowd for the question. Does anyone have a suggestion for local New York printers where I can place last minute order? I don't trust shipping times. Anybody have a suggestion? I mean, I'm going to shout out the one I'm going to try. Okay.
Okay.
I've never used them before, but I've spoken to artists at the shows. They say they've used them for prints. I don't know if it's archival quality because it's printed on some kind of laser-based printing system. So I wouldn't believe it is, but there's a place called bestvaluecopy.com. It is in Queens, New York. And they take about 48 hours. They're a 24-hour printer. It takes 48 hours basically to do the project, and depending where you live, they ship. Now I'm literally a half-hour drive from Queens, so I should be able to either go to the place and pick it up if I want to, or have get it within 2 days of it being done. So that's the one I'm going to try. I've spoken to artists that have used it. The prints do look nice. I'm going to say that, but I don't know if you're looking for archival prints. I can't promise you that that's what you're going to get. Okay.
Yeah.
Plus, I've never used them on my own stuff, so I'm not speaking from experience of working with them. I'm speaking from discussions that I've had with other people at shows.
Okay.
All right.
I've got one. Plus, I want to mention that if you don't trust shipping right now, and I have to say, like, this is bare bones here. Okay, this is the worst of the worst. But they're not that bad. It's just you can't expect the quality to be, like top notch. Staples is definitely a great emergency. Yeah. Right now, I'm using this place called the Copy Center over here in Peekskill. They're pretty good. They get your stuff done in like less than an hour. Wonderful people that work there. Now, if you are concerned about shipping and you have your files ready today, I have to plug these guys because they're just incredible. And I literally just ordered from them just yesterday. So and I had to order emergency shipping because I want to make sure that these collectible items are in on time. But their emergency shipping is literally coming by Friday. So which means if you order just regular shipping, it's definitely going to come in time for Undiscovered Realm. And that's cat print. So like the pet, CAT, cat print. Their quality is the best that I've seen and at their prices, you really can't beat them. Plus they give sales.
Yeah.
So cat print is it. They are the people to go to. Very reliable. Every time I've printed from them, they sometimes ship a little bit earlier than they say they're going to ship. So maybe I've spent the $50 to get these things for no reason, but I still wanted to make sure we had it on time, and that's it.
And I will say, I have seen cat print prints. I know people who use them. They
Incredible.
are great quality. I actually, when you told me you were ordering from Cat Print, the first thing I did was went on the site and ordered a sample paper book so I can check them out for later. Because I do know, I actually used to have one years ago. I think I met them at a show, and they just gave me a sample paper book, but it's been years. I don't,
I used to order for them for like any conventions I did. And even now, like I have scanned a lot of my some of my big illustrations, and I decided to like just try out their canvas prints, and even their canvas prints were like on the money. I was like, wow.
Oh yeah.
They're like, these guys, they have not failed me. And I've used them for the past like 2.5 years. So I feel like we're
Michael,
I've used them for
we need
longer.
to call them to be a sponsor.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, anybody who wants to sponsor me, Superman, whatever, I'll even take James Gunn's sponsorship. I'm happy for that. But yeah, no,
Yeah, but
I'll
Captain
promote
is
whoever.
great.
Yeah, no, Cat. It is. I know
Go ahead,
that.
Eli.
I remember when they first started and seeing them. So that's how I got the books. I got a bunch of samples from them. They were just giving stuff away, like, come use us. And I didn't think they were going to last just with how much stuff they were giving away. But, I was wrong. Yeah. So,
I think it's because their marketing is weddings, which is genius.
Oh.
Because if you go to their website, it's get your wedding brochures done by us. And then the envelopes are like butter when you hold them. But they do stickers now. They do a bunch of stuff. And then their heavy stock linen is basically like watercolor paper. It's so beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They're sad.
Oh yeah. They're so good.
What incredible! I'm sorry, but I'm like thinking about that. They market themselves for weddings. That's like
it's sheer genius.
Sheer genius that they're racking in dough.
They know that
Very smart
the
people.
arts industry is really what we use them for.
Yeah.
But the bread and butter is like the wedding, and it's genius. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Weddings are always money. Before I got married, I just decided I called up one of the venues I wanted to go to. It said, hey, I'm planning a wedding. And they gave me a base set. And then I said, yeah, I'm having a graduation party. I called like an hour or two later. And I'm like, yeah, it's about 200 people. I'm looking for, a buffet style, whatever it was, I said. And
Michael, you called it a graduation? I'm stealing that. That's genius.
No, I didn't use them, but I'm just saying, because then later you come back, what are you going to do? Show up and they're going to see my wife in her wedding dress and me in a tux and stuff.
They didn't know that's the graduation attire nowadays.
Yeah.
You're graduating from single to married, like
yes.
But I just called to see the difference, and there's a big difference in prices. And I used to work for print houses, same thing, wedding invitations to just, hey, I need like a baby announcement, like those things, they just charge like crazy.
They know
all those things.
Willing to drop.
Yeah,
a lot of money for that.
People will spend money nowadays. I can just email everybody or post on Instagram and say, hey, This is what's going on in my life, and my whole family gets it. Yeah.
Mhm.
No,
There is one more printer I want to mention,
Yeah.
and if Mel is looking for stickers, the stickers that we usually get are from Stickerfied, and soon we're hoping that Eli's cousin is going to open up her shop because her stickers are really great too. So I just wanted to mention Stickerfied, and just in case you get the hookup from Eli.
uh-oh. That's nice.
Oh, oh.
Shout out to Ryan from Sticker5 for helping me get the last minute stickers.
Shout out.
That's awesome. So anyway, let's get back to the salon because we sidetracked.
Yes.
This is what happens when we all get together anyway.
And that's
So I'm
why
very
this is almost like a
interested
rehearsal for us,
Yeah.
because at the salon we're like trying to be on our best behavior because we have like a time limit.
That's the thing. I'm like, we get 2 hours, and I mean, we've done 1 hour and we've talked maybe 20 minutes about the salon. Let's get back. So anyway, like you said, we're gonna be kind of interviewed, which that should be good because then we got someone to stop us and say time to shut up, move on to the next person or something. But there is going to be a PowerPoint presentation that people will be able to see that will show off our work. And Eli, actually, since you were putting together the presentation, can you talk a little bit about what, you don't have to give everything away, can you just tell us a little bit about what they'll see in there?
Yeah, so the presentation is basically going to have a couple projects that we've worked on, the title, who are they for, and just a bit of the process. And I really want to focus on the process because again, it's like Let's Talk Comics. I really want to show everyone the workflow of a project, but to also see that it is attainable. It's not something that's like, oh, I can never do this, or going in with the expectation, having a deadline for someone like, oh yeah, I can do a comic for you next week, which don't do that to yourself. It's a lot of work because I've had people approach me, and the power of saying no is really, really important, especially for people who underpay and have high expectations for such a short turnaround. Because I've had people tell me, oh, I need a comic next month and it has to be a whole graphic novel. And I love your style. And it's just like, well, if you knew that it only took me 8 hours just to do one panel, you know that I can't do a graphic novel in a month. Like for some people, like for me, it takes a long time because like just to decide on what to do takes me a long time. Like I could be a little bit of a perfectionist, which maybe not so great, but I really like things to look very particular. But everybody works different. Like maybe somebody does 8 hours one page, but that's still 8 hours in one page. Imagine in a month with a day job, like how are you going to get that done? So I think it's important for people to see the expectations, maybe to armor themselves too with industry, to know that what they can achieve, but also to push themselves too. Like maybe doing a panel, like let's say if I do it in 8 hours, maybe I'll time myself for 5 hours and see what I can get done, and then you get better and faster. Like, because there's definitely some panels that I can do quicker than that. But if I'm doing a splash page, it's going to be longer. It just depends. But to know that it is achievable, and with a little bit of help, it's possible. So I really want to show that. Mm-hmm. And then to show finished works, things in progress, I think that's also important too. And then we're all different types of artists. So you have Michael, who's been in the game for such a long time. David has a lot of experience too. Edwin, I'm not sure your experience, but it seems like you're a little bit newer.
He's going to land something big soon.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah. But you're also doing gallery work too. And then for someone like me, I'm definitely not a comic book artist, but I love comics. And even someone like me who's learning the ropes, you could still get work and still appreciate the process with comics too. And still, even if it's like one comic I do in my lifetime, which I don't think so. I think I'm gonna do a bunch. I have a feeling. But to show that you can do all types of different mediums and still have a killer story. And which that's the thing, it's not just doing it in like a Hanna-Barbera style, DC style, or like a Jason Sean Alexander, like you could really do a bunch of crazy stuff with comics, and it's not just one singular thing. It could be really anything you want it to be, but the emphasis is on sequential storytelling, like what you can take with that and let your imagination kind of rock. It's pretty cool. So we're gonna really be not only showing off our work, but really sharing that that it's it's possible to do whatever you want with sequential storytelling.
I, I I definitely agree. One thing I have to mention is that if you're working on one panel for 8 hours, uh, one panel 8 hours. That's rough. That's a rough career.
Listen, that's what it
Unless
feels like
it's
for me, okay? So don't shame me. That's what it feels like. I haven't timed myself yet, but I swear every time I go back, I'm like, I'm like, oh, this hand isn't quite right, and it just drives me insane. So it feels like 8 hours. But you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
You can't have someone tell you, I need this by tomorrow, a whole graphic novel, because you're an artist and you can do it. It's just drawing. And meanwhile, you just look at them in their soul like, no. No.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've always acquainted it with working out like that. Like I grew up doing martial arts, and I still do it. It is a big part of my life, and I've been able to acquaint there doing martial arts and just having like serious physical discipline with drawing. And it's funny you say that, Eli. Like, people say, "Oh, it's just drawing," like. No, this is real labor. Like, I don't think people understand that you're doing serious labor, and especially nowadays where there is that idea where especially in the fine arts, where it's, or just in arts in general, where everything is just expressive. You could just do something and like it's automatically beautiful. Like, we're all artists. We all try to achieve that feeling of beauty, and that is extremely hard to do. And the only way you can do that is through sheer practice. Like I have an insane amount of like comic pages that I've made just on my own. I've written my own stories. I've like written the scripts, thumbnailed, paneled, done everything, the inks and colors. And I would do it. I'll go to work. I'll do it on my break. And then I'll do it when I go home. I'll go at it. And I am putting hours upon hours. And, people usually don't think of that type of labor when you're doing art,
right.
even in other mediums. There's just a serious like work ethic that you need to do something like this. And it's I like that we get to talk about something like the process. It's
Absolutely.
nice to have a community of people who are, who I guess this is maybe this is just me projecting, but they're people that I know. It's not like I'm looking on the internet or nowadays I'm seeing people talk about it. I'm like, oh yeah, I relate to them, but in reality, you're like 200 miles away from me. I can't really, talk to you about it, so kind of going back to the salon, it's I'm very grateful to be able to, have people and be able to talk about that process that we all share. I feel like we're all saying we're all dealing with the same thing. Like David, 8 hours, you're putting 8 hours in a panel. That's ridiculous. It's funny. I've done that before. Like I was in college. I used to do all my comic pages on the iPad and on Procreate, and my God, to me, it's kind of why I moved myself to traditional, because traditional taught me to, if you mess up, just keep it going, just produce it. The Procreate and the digital work I got caught in the zoom
and
in.
the undo. Oh
yeah, yep, undo. Yeah. And
the funny thing is, you bring that up. I find that when I do inking, I could do like in an hour, I feel like I have a finished piece. On digital, I feel like all my work in progresses are in a folder that I'm too ashamed to look at, because I'm just like, I didn't abandon you. I'm going to come back to you. And then meanwhile, I just push the iPad far away to the other side of the room. And then I just grab my pens and stuff.
Yeah, man.
But it's funny that you say that. Yeah.
It's crazy because you say that, and like I look at the work on my iPad, and it has, me personally, have been my most underwhelming work. Like I just feel like, yeah, it's not bad, but there's nothing that rings real like spirit to it compared to when I'm doing it traditionally. I feel like there's this sense of battle that I have with the piece of paper. Like, all right, I have to build. I literally have to build something that's very physical, and if I mess up, that's it. It's done. You know.
Yeah.
It's very worthwhile. Very worthwhile.
Yeah.
I think there's an art to both. With
Yeah.
It's almost like photography. It's like you don't pick up a camera and you're automatically a photographer. You don't pick up a camera. Yeah, you can't. You have to have the eye. And the same thing with digital. Like, you can't just pick up an iPad, draw a doodle, and say, "Oh, I'm an artist now." It's like, right? No, you can't just do that either. You have to discover what you like about the medium and explore it to its fullest potential. And that's what digital art has been for me. But for me, it is traditional, but it's also like when I do colorist work, it's not that I love painting and I love getting my hands dirty with watercolor, acrylic, anything I get my hands on. But there's something really interesting that happens when you combine the both mediums. But one definitely aids the other. But you just don't pick up a pencil and like, I'm an artist. Like, no, you have to discover what the medium could do for you. And it's almost like it's not the tools that make the artist, it's the artist that makes the tools. Like, you put the work into it. It's not that one pen that who Kim Jong-gi got. Like, oh, I want to know his pen. It's like, forget the pen.
Yeah.
What is his experience? Like, what about you? You have your own experience. That's going to be put on the paper. The pen is just the tool. I know people that work with broken tools that get stuff done. Myself included. I have broken brushes that look, if you saw them, you'd be like, why the hell do you have this? It's like, it's to run its course. It's like, no, I have a reason. Like, just trust me. It's like, so.
Yeah.
I think that's what's really beautiful about it all. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to mention because we keep coming back to this 8-hour panel. It's got to be.
We're gonna have to have a challenge one day. We're gonna call it the 8-hour panel.
No. Hell no. I'll drive my freaking self crazy. But one thing I do want to mention is that a lot of us here have gone to the School of Visual Arts, and there are pages and pages and pages of comics that we've practiced on that will never see the light of day. It'll see the light of day when we die, probably. But those were dirty, dark days where you had to learn the hard way. And if you messed up a perspective, you had to, grab a new sheet of paper, or you had to dump white out on the page because you basically screwed something up. And one of those mistakes where like you're using a nib and then like it's not clean all the way. And when you go in for someone's face or you're doing an eyebrow and then a whole blotch of ink gets on the paper and you almost lose your mind, people will never see that.
Yeah, it's true, man. It's true.
But it's definitely a grinding career. And I spend normally about 8 to 12 hours on one page. And that's just my style. It's just the way that I think things should work. The collectible that we're going to be giving away, I'm sure everybody took a lot of time on. I on purpose put a lot of time and effort into the piece. I'm probably going to be posting it tomorrow so that everybody can see what they're going to be getting. So if you guys want to do that with me, like we can sort of like do a collaboration. So all of our pages could be on our Instagrams, which would be a lot of fun. But I'm going to be posting mine tomorrow. I spent a lot of time on it. It's a Superman piece. And yeah, that's just a career for me. When I'm working, whether it's on storyboards for NBC or Google or Yahoo, whatever, or for anybody, I'm gonna spend the right amount of time on it. And if I'm ever presented with this commission or this moment where I get the opportunity to spend 8 hours on one panel, I will gladly do it.
That's funny because I never would. I one of the things I love about cartooning, and out of everybody here, I'm probably the most cartoony of an artist.
Oh yeah,
definitely. I mean, I draw so many different ways, but I think I just tend to lean cartoony on everything. And for me, I like the speed. Eli was talking about the joke, the 8-hour panel, whatever, but I can literally, like, when I would do the whiz, it would take me on the low end 2 hours to draw one strip that's color, whatever, everything, to up to 5 hours. So, like, I would literally sit for, you know, 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. some days, just working on the whiz, but I would always write in advance most of the time. So I had the jokes going into the, and that was only a 3 or 4 panel strip, you know? But when I do a comic page, if between penciling and inking, I'm probably maybe 3 hours at the most on a page with because inking I take my time on. The pencils, if I'm drawing for myself, it's more notes. Like I'll call it like note drawing. It's little. Here's a circle for this character and maybe whatever, and some ideas for the background. And then if I really need to, I'll draw it out on a separate piece of paper and lightbox it.
Yeah.
But if I'm drawing for someone else, I'll probably spend 3 hours just on the pencils so that they can make 2 to 3 hours on that. So I'm also a little less is more. I don't like to put a lot of details into my work because I like that speed. I like to move a little quicker. And I also wanted to mention when Edwin mentioned about how the discipline that taking martial arts kind of. Eli and I were talking about that at that Portchester thing. I studied until I busted my knee at 21, martial arts. And I was saying if I didn't grow up studying them, I don't think I'd have the discipline I have to create comics. Now, that doesn't mean you have to study martial arts to create comics. I'm just saying if you're going to make this a career, it's a discipline that you have to do. You have to,
and you also have to be a little bit crazy, I think.
Yeah,
totally.
Because it's constantly, and it's not even trying to beat up on yourself like a masochist, but I don't know about you guys, but I remember when I first started off, I didn't, like, again, I ignored the call when I was very small. I was like, I'm not going to draw Dad, whatever. Because my dad is an artist, and when he saw me draw a bird, I think it was a chicken for my grandfather, I swear he flipped out for like 9 hours just telling me, you got to do this. You got to draw, pick up the pencil. And I was too little. I was like, no, I want to play. I want to do something else. And then when I finally picked it up at 12, which all those years went by, and I just finally admitted, yes, I love this. I was natural at it, but I wasn't good at it, if that makes any sense. And I knew it. I had like this eye for some reason, and I just knew I didn't have the skill. So I remember I would draw for like 10 hours straight, because that's what you had all the time in the world as a kid. And that's what I would do. I wouldn't talk to anybody after school. I would just go home. I would draw. And then I would look at the thing I did for all that time. I would throw the book across the room because angry teenage angst. I was like, I can't do this. Oh my gosh. I would just sit like this for like a good 10 minutes. Like, what am I going to do with my life? Like, all extra. And then I would just silently walk back to it, pick it back up, and just continue. And people really would say, like, oh, you're just naturally good. It's like, no, I spent a lot of times throwing that notebook. Or maybe not throwing it every time, but I just remember that one time I really did do that. And it's kind of crazy if you really think about it, because it's so hard to admit to yourself you're not good enough. And you want to get better so bad, it's almost like you need it. It's like you have to do it to breathe. And that's what it felt like for me. It's like if I don't get it right, I will, like, there's something in me that's not satisfied. And it's like an itch you just cannot scratch. And that's something it's kind of crazy if you think about it.
Yeah. It's like what do you say? You have to love it so much that you hate it, and that's really what gets you good. Because the bad days, oh my God, they can get rough.
Yeah.
It was just like that. Yeah, you described it perfectly. It's like
I'm sorry. I just want to say something that I would tell my students, because art is something, even though, I would teach, it is a self-taught field. You have, if you don't practice it, you're not going to learn it. You can understand the methods I drew on the board. You can always understand that, and you will get to the level you want to get to with enough practice. But I want people to know, and this is how I've always looked at it, There's no one worse of an artist than you, and there's no artist better than you. All right. Your only competition is yourself. So the more you practice, the better you're going to get, and you will get to the level that you want. And if you want to draw like someone, do what we call artist studies, where you take a look at an artist that you like or whatever, and trace their work, copy their work, learn their lines. Art, drawing is muscle memory. So if you want to draw like them, I've always said if I want to learn a style, that's like, because I used to do some animation, so I had to learn to draw other people's styles. I would literally trace other people's work to figure things out.
Yeah.
And then I'd break them down into the simplest forms and do all that stuff. But that is how it is. So anybody out there who wants to learn comics, cartooning, any type of art, it's just going to be practice and practice the methods that you're shown. That's it.
And buying into your career too, because even as a professional right now, and I'm going to give another plug because I should be sponsored at this point for real. But there's this class that I just got called it's not called anything. It's just this guy named Ryan, and his courses are called 9 Monkey or something like that. Oh, I think someone hopped off. Was that Eli?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so the course is called 9 Monkey or 9 Monkeys, and this is literally just to keep me sharp. I think it's important as a professional that you keep on learning, you stay humble, and one of the ways that I do stay humble is through the drink and draws. The drawing from a live model, I feel, is like weightlifting for us. And if you can find any way to just keep that strength between your eye and your hand sharp, you have to find your way and make sure you enjoy it more than the content that's being shown. Because sometimes you're going to often find that some instructors are not as interesting, or not to say I love everybody who teaches art, but some people can be a little low energy, can kind of screw you up. But you have to find a way to either make a cup of coffee, or make it interesting for yourself.
For sure. It's funny. It's funny you mentioned that, because one of the things I learned pretty recently, and I kind of wish I knew it in college, but it's neither here or there. I actually kind of understood this. I went to a boot camp in California last summer, and it was one of the things they kind of spoke about was this idea of when you're learning from someone, you shouldn't try to how do I put this correctly? You're not trying to imitate. You're not there to imitate someone. It's like you can learn the perfect life studies and do perfect proportions of these faces, of these sculptures, and all this stuff of these live models, and they are wow, this is completely spot on. You nailed it completely. But you as an artist, you want to be able to gain this certain level of character in your artwork. You're not trying to be the school that you're learning from. You're trying to uncover more who you are, and that's a big part of the experience of learning when you're learning the craft. There's this it's kind of it's a little esoteric, but if Eli said, when you're crazy, I feel like you kind of get it. You're almost getting to this spiritual plane where you're really trying to understand who you are when you're learning the craft. You kind of really have to separate yourself from the establishment that you're a part of. And when you're with somebody when you're learning from somebody who is exceptional, what can you really grab from them that can put you on that higher level that you're trying to obtain, rather than just trying to be like them. I hope I'm clear on that. I don't know if I'm
no, it makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely clear.
Yeah. I just want to say Eli is off right now because she was saying she had connection issues. So hopefully she'll be back on soon. I also wanted to go to one of Mel's comments here, which says, I used to put pause on my VHS movies, put computer paper on the family and trace. I like let me tell you something. That is how I taught myself to draw before I started taking any formal art classes. I would record like every cartoon on TV, and I would pause a frame and I would draw what I saw on TV, or I started tracing and then I would stop tracing and I step back and I would copy. So I learned, and I think sometimes that's kind of how I learned some composition. Um, Also, my father was a photographer, and I didn't realize he was teaching me composition when he put a camera in my hand. But
Nice.
but I think that was, and then I started doing it out of newspaper comics, and I started doing it out of comic books. Before I'm like, ooh, these are kind of collectible things, and I went through that collectible mindset for a while, and it was crazy. Hold on, Eli should be back. Yeah, no, I think that is a great way to learn. Just pause something and
Hi, Eli.
see and try to copy it. I mean, that's a great one. Then I remember it started taking formal. My first outside of school, my first formal thing was middle school. It was like 7th, 8th grade, and I grew up in a town called Mahopac, New York, and there was an artist who worked in comics at one point in his life, but he did other things, oil paint, and he used to teach art classes to kids and adults in his basement. You'd walk into his basement, and he had like art tables and easels all set up, and I'd be sitting there, and you'd have I was 7th, 8th grade, I'm maybe 12 years old, 13 years old. And then next week could be a 7-year-old and then a 45-year-old person. Like it was just, we were all there, and he'd walk around the room and help everybody out. But that's when I learned how comics were actually made. There's a picture I sent to Eli as me as a kid. I'm at the Cartoon Museum in Port Chester, New York. And that's the first time I saw comics were drawn much larger than the actual size. But when I was in when I was taking the classes, that's when I learned, oh my God, he gave me a large sheet of paper. He's like, this is the size we draw on. You shrink it down at this much and it'll look like a comic page, and that's where I learned my ink washing, my watercolor, how to use a pen nib. I never got the handle of the brush too well, but I was inking with different nibs since then, and I did that up until really I was forced to go digital. Well, actually, that's not true. I did that until I jumped on the whole Micron
Oh yeah, that was a big thing.
Yeah. And then I went digital, and now I'm back to as much traditional as possible because number one, I don't want to be on screens. Number two, I really miss getting dirty, with my work. I really do.
I've actually I started So the Void is going to be done traditionally because it's been so long that I've actually taken pen to paper. And it's just, honestly, I looked at my hands and I was like, oh my God, this is what I just felt it. It was almost like I was building a house or something, The ink spilled all over the place. I got white out all over my other hand and all over all of my other stuff. But there was something about it that just felt so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's almost like therapeutic.
Yeah. You're willing something into existence rather than willing something into a computer.
Yeah. There's something really magical about looking at a blank piece of paper and then you create a world from it, I think that's part of the most beautiful thing with comics is that you can, from just a sheet of paper, you can create a world that literally can change numerous lives. It's fantastic. Really fantastic.
I've always said when I do my humor stuff, it was I do it for two things. One, well, the main thing is growing up, I had illness, a medical illness. My audience knows, and I was in and out of hospitals, so I drew a lot. But for me, when I draw, I I think, and I tend to lean towards humor because I'm always drawing for that sick kid in the hospital. I'm drawing whether it's me or someone else. I like to think that I could cheer someone up and make them forget their problems. And on that note, it was always, I don't care if you laugh with me or at me, as long as you laugh, I did my job. Those were kind of my, kind of how I approach doing comics. So for me, like, talking about, creating these worlds, I'm doing it in jokes, but I'm trying to create just a fun place for people to
Yeah.
escape to, and I'm kind of, even though I'm drawing comics again, like in a book format, I am missing the challenge of doing a weekly strip with the Wiz. So I might be going back to that after I finish
Oh, that's exciting.
this, but maybe not the Wiz. It might. I have other characters that I have one that almost premiered in the Wiz, and I said no, I'm going to save him for something special. But I also like story strips. Like for me, and this is something I was going to ask everyone tonight. Like, what are some of your favorite comics? For me, it's always been, you know, story adventure strips from the newspaper, like Prince Valiant, the
Mhm.
Dick Tracy, the Phantom, all those type of things. Flash Gordon, as well as a lot of humor strips. Peanuts, Beetle Bailey, Hagar. Like you can name almost every strip, and I love it. Um, but there are certain things that I kind of lean towards, and I feel that I want to do a humor adventure strip. That's kind of where
That's
I'm
fun.
leaning towards, but in a strip format. So I don't want to do it in a book format. I want to go back to it because you know what? I got to say, and this is for anybody who wants to create and publish, that idea that I don't want to say I came up with it, but the idea of Instagram with the swipe, being able to put
Yeah,
one panel up on a thing and up to 10 panels these
it's
days.
perfect.
Yeah,
You could, yeah, it's perfect to release newspaper style strips on,
for sure.
you know.
Yeah.
Sure. I actually did that one time. I was working on like kind of this dark comedy with my brother. My brother was a writer and I was the artist. And we were doing exactly that. We were just using that just Instagram as a form of just doing like a strip comic. And it was a great time. Nothing ever came of it. It was more of just something that we were doing that was just more just fun. And it was kind of like a brother and brother relationship. Just, hey, you
Yeah.
write, I'll draw. And we just had a great time doing it. But as we were doing it, we're like, wow, this is like a great medium. And it was funny because after we did it, your algorithm starts feeding you more of that stuff. So then we started seeing like a lot of other artists were doing the same thing, and it was just the perfect way to do that.
Yeah. Now, let me go to this question because, and by the way, with the Wiz, I built a nice loyal fan base on Instagram that
Oh
even though
yeah.
I haven't posted since January 1st, I still get people writing me like, "What are you working on? When's your new stuff
Oh,
coming
that's
out?"
awesome.
And so, and this is also on my Facebook Wiz page too. I get that, or my Get in Tune page. It's people. I built a following, and it may not be a huge following, but I built a loyal fan base from doing that. And if you stick with it enough, you can build that. But anyway, I wanted to. So I just named some of my favorite strip comics. What everyone around here, what are some of the favorite things, like it not and I want to say it this way: if you had to go back and just pick up a book, a newspaper strip, a manga, whatever you want to call it, because manga and comics are the same thing to me.
Mhm.
Same thing with a web comic. I hate the term web comic. It's a comic. um, what would you go back to? What are some of your favorites that you just really love, and like just make you feel good or inspire you to wanna make comics? What, anybody who wants to go?
I feel like Eli's been silent.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
And she sounded
Why
excited
me?
though. I saw your face get excited when you're like clapping. What are some? So
Yeah.
Like, oh.
you know your answer. Go for it.
I have a
Mm.
few. Is my slice of life. I love School Rumble. That was one of my middle school favorites because it's like a romantic comedy that has no business being drawn so well, but so simple. I fell in love with it right away for some weird reason. I don't know. I loved it. Dead Man Wonderland, I think, is the first and probably only comic I have binge read in one night, and it's
Wow, you read
volumes.
that in one night?
I don't know if you've heard of
Yes,
it.
I only
Yes,
seen it from
Dead
Toonami.
Man Wonderland.
Yes,
From Toonami, you said? Oh no, I mean they had
yeah.
that why. So the animators decided to cut out an important character that needed the story to go on. So they shot themselves in the foot for being
Oh,
cheap.
wow.
And when I read the manga, that one character was in like almost the whole thing. So they couldn't tell the
Wow.
story. He was a key character. Yeah.
Wow,
So that's
ridiculous.
why if you ever watch it, it's beautifully animated.
Yeah.
It's so good. But because that one character was not in episode 1, they couldn't add him in. And terrible.
Terrible
I'm
choice.
sure
Terrible
that would have been one of the best anime ever if they didn't do that. And then for I guess like for I would guess like for individual comics like Tank Girl, I do love Tank Girl. It's just like ridiculous. Like the old Tank Girl and the new Tank Girl, I like them all pretty much. One of my favorite artists did work on it, Ashley Wood. But even the like not Ashley Wood, what is his name? Jamie Hewlett that worked on Tank Girl, I liked that. I liked Martin's Tank Girl too. And then the new one, I'm blanking on the guy's name, but I have it here. And I was like hating on it at first. I was like, this is new style. This is not the gritty Tank Girl I knew. But then when I read it, I was like, this is the spirit of Tank Girl. They did great. So it was like a new, fresh, cartoony spin, but they did a great job on it, I think. And then the last one is a graphic novel that I really like. And again, it shows that fine artists, illustrators can do comics. It's called Gollum by LRNZ, Lorenzo. I'm going to say his last name starts with a C. I can't pronounce it, but he's Italian. And Gollum is such a masterpiece of a comic, like a graphic novel. It's so good. And that's something I was just staring at for hours when I first picked it up. I think I spent a good few weeks just looking at the artwork. I didn't even read it because I was like, if I read this, I'm going to put it down. I need to just stare at it for a good few weeks. So those are my hot takes on
Nice.
comics. I have more, but those are for sure.
It's a good 3.
I can just remember just opening the book and smelling the book and just going to the pages. Like, yeah, those are a few. Yeah, I could definitely
Amazing.
recommend.
All right.
Who's next?
Edwin, you want to go?
Go. It's funny you mentioned the smell, and you guys remember Dragon's Den?
Oh my God!
You're talking
In
about the one-
Yonkers.
Yes, in Yonkers.
Oh, that's a painful reminder. I miss that place.
And
Oh
Yankees.
man, that place. That was probably the
Magic.
first time like I actually really started to get like graphic novels as a wee child. And there used to be this series like Marvel used to do like these like trade backs, but that were done like in manga size. They were like full colored. And like they're retelling of like a lot of older stories, a lot of traditional stories, but they redrew them. And I don't know, you just saying the smell. I remember being a kid, and, like open up and having that good paper smell. I was like, oh man, I was like getting high without knowing as a child. But
Yeah, it's like crisp. It's like you knew something adventurous was
man,
about
yeah,
to happen when you open the pages and then you flip through it, you touch it. Like I
It was
love
great.
that. Like David makes fun of me, but when I did the promotional video for Inkling, all I kept doing was touching the
Oh.
paper. And there's something about touching the paper and like feeling the bumps of the ink underneath your fingers. Like I feel like even in college, my professors would say,
Calm
Eli
down.
or well, Eliza, like, oh, like your paintings are so impasto. And when I realized you could do that with
Oh.
paint, forget it. So I'm big on touch. So for sure, like the pages, I would just
Yeah, it's a great thing. It's a great thing. But not to have that tangent, but if I were to have to pick my favorites, I'm gonna be so generic, but I don't care. I'll ride or die for Dragon Ball.
Okay,
I'll ride or die Dragon Ball to my grave. I
great
don't care what
choice.
anybody says. Just phenomenal like storytelling. Just it's just especially just action based. Like probably to this day, the best action I've ever seen in any comic. Like when it comes to just fighting, one of like the biggest things I always like see in comics, I always want to like really like see very strong, even when the story is phenomenal. It's just like this how people do action. It just Dragon Ball has set a big standard for me on just like dynamic movement. And one of the things I've always noticed that a lot of people don't do is that in Dragon Ball, they draw the whole body. Like they draw the whole body moving. And drawing the whole body is already a feat for people.
Yep.
Like no pun intended, because people hate drawing feet. But like with that being said, you know, like I'll never forget being a kid. There's this panel where I'm just gonna say the characters' names. If I'm sure people know them, they know them. They don't, oh well. Where Vegeta is fighting Raccoon on planet Namek, and he grabs Raccoon's leg and he throws him. And I remember being a kid really feeling that throw because he drew the whole body, and you saw Vegeta holding the leg, this massive man's leg, and you saw that hip torque of him really throwing him. And the composition was done so well where you felt that at such dynamic speed that it was mind blowing. It was mind blowing as a kid. And even if I can grab it now, I'm like, wow, this is great. Let alone like the jokes I find are great. Even to this in this day and age, people say, oh, these jokes are a little antiquated, but I don't care. They're great to me. I'll have to say Dragon Ball and Berserk. Berserk is another big inspiration of mine. Like that's I think that was the first artist as when I was like really taking this seriously. I would get tracing paper, put it down, and really like I'll buy extra volumes of the manga, just use one for studying and one just for to actually read casually. And I would just put tracing paper, I would draw it. I'll draw stuff over and over again because I just thought it was so beautiful.
Yeah, and I could see that in your style though.
Oh yeah,
he's a big
Okay.
influence.
Yeah,
I don't know all the artists. I'm so bad with names. So,
his name is Kentaro Miura.
Yeah, I'm actually. I'll be honest. I'm finally reading Berserk. I'm like in book 9, and it's
Bless your heart.
just it's one of those things I never read, and I'm like everyone's been telling me for years, read it. So I started reading it. I don't know, less than a year ago. And when I do, like every few weeks, I'll pick up one book and I'll just read it. And
it's a good time. It's a thick read. It's a thick read, but it's beautifully done.
I mean, I've said it on the show that my friend did the lettering for the first 12 books.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have my friend Dan Necrosis, who's passed away. He was a big time letterer. His job for a while before like was it Viz and Tokyo Pop came in here and whatever, and was to convert Japanese comics into for the American audience. And the first 12 books, his name is in there as a production artist or something, but he did the lettering, he did some touch-ups to the book and whatnot, but yeah, and so like I'm buying the first 12 books individually just to have his books, and then I'll buy them as the collections and
definitely.
And so, but yeah, no. So,
and I'll say one last one.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
One last one, just that the one that kind of got me into comics when I will never forget. I was probably maybe like 7 years old. Was Doom Quest, the Iron Man story where the Iron Man and Doctor Doom they go to the land where King Arthur is, and it's such a silly story looking at it now, but God, that my 7-year-old brain ate that shit. I was so amped for that. but yeah, I'll have to say that those really Berserk and Dragon Ball always biggest inspirations for me.
Yeah. And David, what about you?
All right. So through the years, it's evolved. But just to mention a few, I guess, contemporary ones, or not really contemporary, but mainly the ones that I kind of look to as like my shining stars right now. are, I guess I'll mention the last. I'll mention the one that I have the closest relation to last. So the first one I want to mention is David Mazzucchelli. He is an artist that drew Daredevil with Frank Miller. The truth is that like I knew him for Batman Year One, and I dove into his artwork because he was a serious sequential genius, up there with like Alex Toth and Mark Schultz. And I know that I had him as a professor at the School of Visual Arts, and it was a real honor to be taught by him. But he is a storytelling master, a sequential storytelling master. The book that I have to mention that really did that had the most impact on me is Asteros Pull-Up. Sorry. It's not drawn in a Marvel Comics way. It's actually drawn in a very, God, I almost want to say it's like fine arts illustration. I don't even know how to explain it. It really is a masterpiece. Every character is drawn like their personality, which I think is nearly impossible to do until you see David Mazzucchelli do it.
What was the book
Truly,
called? I'm sorry.
Asteros Pull-Up.
It's called Asteros. Oh. I want to add to that,
go ahead.
David. It's not only visual; it's very psychological. And that's why he's an absolute master. And he does it with a limited palette. And he's just, it's like design meets fine art meets illustration meets comics. And it's a work of art.
It really is.
And down to the paper he uses, it's amazing. And if you can find it, not online, read the physical book. Like you have to hold it in your hands. It's that powerful.
I'm sorry, I was just like kind of looking at it on my phone. I'm like, I want to get that.
Yeah,
that looks really interesting.
Pick that up. I knew you were gonna say that was one of your favorites, David. I didn't want to say it was one of mine, but that's definitely mine too. It's great. Yes, it's amazing.
What David actually did was he created he published for a while this book called Rubber Blanket. Right now they're going for like 200 a piece. His issue 2 is going for like 1,000. Serious master, and it's an honor to know him and to have been taught by him, and just to see his artwork. He really is a legend for that reason. Now that would be the first. The second I want to mention is a guy named Stuart Immonen. He drew a book called Superman: Secret Identity. In my opinion, that right there is the greatest Superman book that's ever been made. It's so true to life. It's so weird. I've never seen somebody take, and this is an actual traditional comic. You open it, you read it. It reads like a novel and looks like a comic book. And it's really like a Superman slice of life book where you're pulling this character that has been this poppy kind of like super iconic thing into, and you're grounding him. You're taking him from the sky and you're putting him in the ground, and you're growing him into like this beautiful tree, where you see the span of like this, because it's obviously an alternate universe Superman, but the span of this branched off Superman into this beautiful life that they've created. Absolutely gorgeous, beautiful, and powerful book. So first one, Asteros Pull-Up, and then second one, Stuart Immonen, Superman: Secret Identity. Now, the most contemporary book that I have that is like my shining star is a book called Bone Parish, and it's published by Boom Studios. The artist's name is Jonas Shuroff, and the colorist is named Alex Guamirez. And Alex is actually somebody who has been like, even though I'm like a huge fan of him, we've actually been able to work on a few projects together. So I'm just going to show you guys. So with Alex, who's the colorist? 1 second, I got to pull it out of like this.
He's amazing.
Oh yes, he is amazing. So he was able to do issue 3 of Our Devil's Reign and issue 2. So issue 3 and issue 2, I'm gonna put them in sequential order, so because we're talking about comics. So he was able to color both of these. And let me tell you that right now the screen does not do them justice.
He colored the cover.
Yeah, he colored the cover. Sorry, Eli. Eli colored the book.
I did the interior.
Eli colored the book. But I just wanted to plug him for a little bit. So this book, Bone Parish, it's for sure whatever producer or film producer picks this up and sees this book really has no idea what they have their hands on. It's like, okay, just to get a little plug in, when you see this guy's work, not only are you going to see that he's a master of light and dark, serious master, but the story itself is truly amazing. It's like, I'm going to try not to spoil it as much as I really want to spoil it, but it's like a supernatural touch on Breaking Bad.
Oh, cool.
Okay, so I'm not really spoiling it, I guess, if this is in the first issue, but basically what happens is that there's this drug called ash that's being sold on the streets, and it's like a killer. Like it's just like it's the number one thing on the black market with it's getting sold on the streets. And what it is when you take it, it's almost like, I don't know, like something that people breathing through their nose. I don't know, but when they do it, they live through sort of like a scenario in a person's life, like the highlight of their life, right? So like if you wanted to be a superhero, not a superhero, but if you wanted to be like a rock star in front of millions of people, you take this drug and you live that moment as lucid as you possibly can. You are there, right?
Oh, geez.
So what you find out is that the drug is actually made from dead people.
Oh, cool.
So it gets a whole lot more supernatural than that, and it deals with this realm and the next realm, and like what constitutes death and life. It gets really insane, but it's based around this crime family called the Winters. Like they're the Winters family. It's 3 graphic novels long. I don't remember the issue count. It could be 4 or 5 issues per graphic novel, but it's insane. The artwork is amazing. The storytelling is amazing. The writer's name is Colin Bunn, who also has like a portfolio of really great supernatural horror. So, like I said, I should be sponsoring these people. I really, man. Yeah, it's just incredible stuff. I'm like an avid comic book reader, so like I read new stuff, I read old stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to suck me into like mainstream stuff nowadays because I'm a fan of the oldies, Crisis on Infinite Earths, Infinite Crisis, Identity Crisis, Civil War, the original Civil War for Marvel, Alan Moore, like The Killing Joke. Like I'm more of like an indie reader, and I'm more of an older comic book reader. Like I still buy old, like right now, the last book sorry guys, I don't mean to keep going, but last book that I bought, you can't buy this in graphic novel form. I bought a comic book series called She-Ra.
Oh.
Right. And that was drawn by not Adam Kubert, it was his father. Joe Kubert, sorry. So Joe Kubert, and he did the covers, and he did some of the work to help promote it. But a guy named Nestor Redondo drew that book, and he is beautiful. He came from the era where people like were really inspired by Frank Frazetta.
Yeah,
and you could really tell.
Oh man, what year was it?
I don't know. It must have been the 80s. Judging by the coloring of the comics, because I'm actually reading them very carefully.
For sure.
It must have been in the 80s. Like it still has that smell.
Yeah.
Like sure. That old newsprint smell to it. Very beautiful book.
Dang, just took you right back to the 80s.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I've been collecting the Savage Sword of Conan comics, the original Savage Swords, and like. It's that old.
Sorry, guys. I went back to the 80s. I just had to go see it really quick. Make sure it smelled the same.
But yeah, man, having those books is completely different experience. Great.
Oh yeah, they were. What's funny is that I learned this from David Mazzucchelli, that and it's the reason why he named his graphic novel series where he collected artists to collaborate on this sort of like episodic graphic novel, if you will. But he named the comic Rubber Blanket because back then, comics used to be made on like a rubber blanket where you only had like a certain amount of colors you can add to the comic page, and it would just press onto the newsprint. And that's sort of like that newsprint is what made the smell.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Beautiful things.
Yep.
Amazing.
So that's my. Sorry, guys. I know I went on for a little bit, but
listen, this is interesting because for me, you know, I read a lot of books, but I'm not up to date with a lot of the newer stuff. I'm like you. I do indie stuff and I read older stuff, but I don't tend to explore right now. I don't want to say outside my comfort zone, but like I just have so much to read. I'm not looking for other books right now, but the stuff you're naming that everybody here named sounds interesting. You know, going back to Edwin, you know, you mentioned Dragon Ball. We had a conversation that I've read a couple of the books of the original ones, but it turns out I watched the show as a kid.
Mhm.
And then when I got to Z, which I'm doing right now, finally, I find the show kind of you know, and I know everyone thinks it's like the greatest show on the planet. And like I said to you guys, I just feel it's, oh my God, where's Goku? We need Goku. Goku's here. He beat the guy. Okay. Now Goku's off training somewhere else. Oh no, another threat. Everybody's
Love it.
you know, that's the show.
Yep.
So you have told me that maybe I should look at the manga more, and what you were describing, because I didn't know this about some of the stuff. You know, I've only read like 2 or 3 of the original books.
Yeah.
But you're mentioning how they're drawing full bodies.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I mean, I think everybody who's a Toriyama fan knows he was a fan of martial art movies.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh
He's
yeah.
drawing, you know, these martial arts scenes, basically things from, like, literally things from movies were in his books.
Yeah, man.
And so I'm like, you know, and that also kind of made me want to start watching a little bit and reading his stuff, because I'm a fan of those old martial art movies. You know,
Yeah.
that was again the childhood. As soon as cartoons ended, you know, Fox would have the martial arts movies going on, and every Saturday morning. So, you know, but I mean, that's the thing. And then, you know, you mentioned Mazzucchelli, who I'm a fan of, but I don't know him on the level that you knew him. So hearing you talk about him and some of his other work that I'm not familiar with is like, wow, okay, I need to check this stuff out. You know?
Oh yeah.
You know, and
If someone brings it up during the Comic Salon,
Yeah.
I'll tell a really good story with him.
okay, yeah.
Nice.
No, it's a fan. I have
We gotta
what is
remember
it?
now.
I think I have his Daredevil, you know, the artist edition behind.
Oh
me.
yeah, that's great, right?
I just love looking. I mean, I try to collect as many of those as possible from artists I love. In the Amazon, my Amazon cart right now is who is it? John Buscema's Silver Surfer, artist edition, like that, or Artisan's edition. I can't afford the artist editions, so I got the what are the, like the 10x15, whatever size they are. So yeah, no, but I mean, I have a bunch of those, because those, you know, for me as someone who loved certain type of comics, whether it's superhero or not, that I'm getting, because if it was up to me, I'd find Carl Barks ones if they had them. I am a huge Carl Barks fan. And if you get a chance, if you've never read any Carl Barks, like Uncle Scrooge books, go see. And I know they're a little hard to find now, but go find some of the, I think Fantagraphics put them out. Oh my God, they are so good. Actually, there's a few you can see behind me. I have that. I have some Mickey Mouse. I think I have some Donald Duck ones back there. But yeah, I mean, like if they made those, I'd be thrilled to look at his work too. And by the way, those are some of the best adventure stories you will ever some of the best stuff. But yeah, no. But getting back to Mazzucchelli, I'm just so impressed. Like looking at the inks and studying, their storytelling and all that. It's just, it's for me that's how I'm starting to enjoy looking at that stuff more than actually reading comics right now. You know, and it's just I don't know. There's something fun about it for me.
For sure.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, listen, I'm gonna start sidetracking in a moment and start talking about other stuff. But yeah, I mean, listen, I love all comics. I read whatever, but I'm more of an indie guy and old school, mainstream stuff that I love. And I look for artists that I will learn from. I can't tell you how many times I pick up like a Will Eisner book and just stop reading it because I'm looking at his inks. I mean, that guy.
Mm-hmm.
You pick up the Spirit, Contract with God, whatever the heck it is. And I've always said this, and anybody who you want, I think if there's anybody to study Eisner, he drew the most beautiful, ugly people. His people were so real and just so like, there was just something about it, and I could sit and just stare.
It's like he took souls and just put them in the comic.
It was
true.
Yeah, it's insane. But also the world.
Yeah.
I think like the Contract of God, that one especially, like it was so gritty. It felt like you could just step right in the
absolutely
page.
And seeing
Even in the white space. Oh,
so
sorry.
yeah,
Go ahead.
you're totally right. And seeing the Bronx back then in his eyes.
Yeah.
I think all of us at one point were in the Bronx. Michael, were you ever in the Bronx?
Like I said, I grew
You're the
up
only
in
one, it's okay.
I grew up in Manhattan, but my family was from Brooklyn, so going to the city was.
I was like, thank goodness some boys are from the Bronx.
Yeah. we were never really Bronx. What?
He's like, I
was. God, I forgot the two parts. Canarsie was one section I was in. That's where my mom grew up, and my dad grew up on the border of Queens and Brooklyn. I can't remember what they call it. But
like around Elmhurst around there.
It's been years since I've been there. I don't remember. Sorry. It's
That's right.
it's been years. So, but yeah, I mean that was like we'd go down for a weekend, and spend some time with my dad's family, spend some time with my mom's family, and by my mom's side of the family, though, walking to my grandfather to my aunt's house, there was a comic shop. So I remember once I was allowed to walk without people with me, it was either down to the corner to get to the movie theater or the what would be a coffee shop, but it was like candy and arcades out there. So like early 80s playing Miss Pac-Man and stuff outside of a candy shop, or then walking to my aunt's house and stopping at the comic shop. Those are like my big memories.
Yeah, that sounds nostalgic.
Yeah. It was a nice it was like a 5-block walk, I think, maybe a little less. I don't remember, but I remember there's this one and I would see these like the Marvel Masterworks. You guys remember those?
Oh, I remember those. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a few, but only one I bought there. I went to school with Joe Orlando's son, and if you're not familiar with Joe Orlando, he was an editor for DC magazine, but he worked on stuff for Marvel, DC. He actually, I think, drew a couple of the early Daredevil books. But because Joe worked in the industry, he'd get all these Marvel Masterwork copies because he worked on some of the books or whatever it was. And then his son would bring them to school and sell them to me for $5 a piece. So I got some of them, when they did the Marvel Masterworks back in the 90s, I guess it was, when they came out.
They got to bring that back.
Yeah. Well, I heard did they just end the new version or something where they were the paper. I got a few of those. They were smaller. Edwin, you were talking about the old Marvel that were printed a little smaller or whatever.
Yeah.
Like they put out, I have them behind me over there, but I think they're called Marvel Masterworks or Marvel Masterpieces or something, and they are like 6x9 books, and they're just reprints of old stories.
Yeah,
and I know I got
like gray covers, right? They have like a gray cover, and they have like the issue cover.
No, not those. Those are full color covers.
Okay.
I know I got the like original Captain Marvel story. I got some Daredevil, and I got I think a Spider-Man in them. But yeah, no, those I think they just ended. I think I read that somewhere. But I don't know. I'm not really collecting all of them. I don't have room. But they're like the new what's DC putting out now? DC has the collection of their books, DC Finest, I think it's called, and I think they're the kind of the same thing, 6x9 collection of
trying to revive their old stuff.
Nope.
They don't need to.
Yeah.
Their old stuff is great.
Yeah.
You don't need to revive it. They're classics.
Yeah.
Whenever you have a classic, you don't have to remake it.
That is true.
Perfect.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, they just
have to.
That's what they're
back,
doing. It's
like,
repackaging the old stories.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's repackaging the old stories.
Yeah, I've noticed that nowadays they'll repackage, and I hate this. Let me tell you. I'm noticing this with movies, with anything that's streamed online. They'll post it. I mean, they'll put it up, and they'll take something out that was in the original, and it's such a shame. If you're watching something, you want the full effect. If you're paying for something, you want the full effect. Especially from when it originally came out. Nothing should be altered in that way, and that's slowly I'm finding that the things that I love are getting nerfed for no reason. Because I mean, if you're watching like a funny comedy, like an Adam Sandler movie, and they nerf a joke in there, it's like the whole movie was pretty up there, It was like, top-notch comedy, and then you got rid of one or two jokes. Like, why would you get like, I'm watching Big Daddy, and I noticed that they freaking got rid of a few lines. I'm like, It's Big Daddy. Everybody knows what the film is about. It's crazy offensive take on like how a father, this guy like, freaking adopts this kid, and in the most offensive way raises him to be this bad kid, and then finds out he's doing it wrong and raises him the right way. It's like literally the most offensive you can get. He steals a kid pretty much. And it's like, at that point, you've established a story that he's doing something really bad, and then you're going to nerf a couple of jokes. It's like, come on, get out of here with that.
They did that with the I believe the Robin Hood movie on Amazon. The movie starts with like a scroll talking about like what like Robin Hood stood for, and now like it's just a blank scroll now. Like the movie literally starts with a blank scroll, and then the movie starts, and it's just like they completely wiped out that whole part, and it's just like that whole piece of the beginning of the movie is a theme of what Robin Hood is supposed to stand for, and they just kind of like wipe it out. It's like, oh, that's weird. All right,
it's ridiculous.
Which do you mind me asking which version of Robin Hood is this?
The Russell Crowe version of Robin Hood. It was on Amazon.
Yeah. They did the same thing to the Passion of Christ too.
Yep.
There was a verse in the Passion of Christ that they originally took out, and then the whole world noticed it, and then they magically put it back in. These people are ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to say like that, obviously like, I'm not trying to say that like I don't want to work with these people, because obviously like, they're big and they pay the bills and everything, and that's great. But like, you can't do that. The movies are made the way that they're made for a reason, and these directors and the artists just to get it pushed through the way they got it pushed through. And you guys know this because you've worked on official projects before, that just to get it pushed through the editor is extremely hard. And you need to respect every artist that was on there, whether the story is The Passion of Christ or Adam Sandler's, funny Big Daddy, or Robin Hood. You got to just push it through the way it was made, because you're taking something away that was crucial to the movie.
I agree.
So
I agree.
Yeah.
Or to the content. I don't want anybody erasing any of the pages that any of these amazing artists have done, no matter what the content is. Don't do it.
For sure.
Yeah. This one's just for Mel, I guess, in the audience, because being a Muppet fan. But you guys made me think
Hey, Mel.
back in. I don't know if you guys remember. I forget what year it came out, but there was the Muppet Christmas Carol, and one of my favorites. And I have the DVD. I have a couple of versions of the DVD actually. I have some of the toys. I am a huge Muppet Christmas Carol fan, and actually, Christmas Carol is my favorite Christmas story. And what was his name? The guy who was running the stuff back then. He left to go to DreamWorks, help start DreamWorks. But anyway, he took out the song "When Love Is Gone" because he thought it wasn't it was moving the story too slow, you know. And I watched it, I think, 2 years ago on Disney Plus, because I usually pull out the DVD, and then one year I'm like, I'm not even going to try to get to my closet and find it because it was blocked with like artwork and all that. I'm like, I'm just not going to do it. And they took out that song. I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, why did they take it? And then that's when I found out, because I spoke to a friend of mine. So Mel may know about this, but I heard they're going to finally bring it back into the film.
Good.
Oh, nice.
They have to.
Yeah, that was that. First of all, that was one of the best scenes.
Yeah.
Great song.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I mean, I noticed all the stuff you're talking about. But as you're talking about movies, I'm like, that one just kind of popped into my head, and I'm like, because they couldn't slow down the story.
Yeah, there's one more I want to mention, and I was talking with Jack Hopkins and Juliet, and I got her last name, Juliet Tierney, about is Kiki's Delivery Service, and when Disney bought it.
I was just about to talk about that. Yes.
Oh, Eli, you want to take over?
Yes.
Go for it.
Okay. So I don't even want to explain to you how many times I've seen Kiki Delivery Service. I had it on VHS, and it was one of those movies where I would really play it, and as soon as it finished, I would just hit the rewind button on the VHS and then go right to the beginning, and I would sit down and I would watch it. Guilty. So you know that in my brain, that whole movie is just living there rent free. Why am I watching it on whatever streaming service? And I'm watching it with David, and I was just like, David, this is not the movie. And he was like, what do you mean? It's right here. And I said, no, it's something's missing. And I thought I was crazy. I thought it was the Mandela effect. I was like, no, I must be insane. Because I really was imagining lines in my mind. I'm like, but he's supposed to say this right here. But hold on, wait a minute. The story beat is a little off. The music has changed. And then David really for Christmas got me the 1995 version, which is the one I grew up with. And we watched it, and it had all the Gigi's lines, the cat, and the original music that I grew up with, which was so good. It was so good.
So wild.
And then they changed it. So the one I grew up with, the music was about growing up, putting on your bootstraps and really like taking chances and having courage. But the original Japanese version is about, like, the songs were about a man cheating on his wife and the wife telling the mom about it, which has nothing to do with Kiki's Delivery Service. It's a cute song, but when you look at the lyrics, it doesn't make any sense. I was really salty about that they changed everything. Yeah, they changed a lot of the story, and it really changes the story, like you guys are saying.
Yeah.
I just think that it also confuses us. I really feel crazy. I really told David, like, no, this is not the movie I grew up with. He was like, what are you talking about? But when you sit down and actually look at the other version, to me it's a different story because the ending changes. So not only are you changing maybe not for like a joke, taking out a joke, but something like that changes the entire integrity of the story.
Absolutely.
To the point of the message.
The thing that we were talking about with Jack and Juliet was about how they changed so much, and what was great is that Juliet, who also is a comic book artist as well, and an artist, she's a colorist, but what we were talking about is how she has the old VHS, and I told her, I was like, put that in plastic. Keep
Oh my
it.
gosh.
Don't ruin it. Just if you're gonna watch it maybe 1 or 2 times. Buy the 95 freaking DVD, and just be very careful with that VHS, because that was before Disney bought it.
Yep.
I need that VHS, David. I need that VHS. I need to get a VHS player. I need to go back in time and just
Throw that
hit
money
rewind
down.
one more time. Huh? No, I could probably find one at a garage sale somewhere in Scarsdale. Just, you don't want that anymore? Here's
The
$2.
problem is
I'll take it off
is that you're gonna need to buy a tube TV with it.
David, you think I can't find one? I have PS1 games. We have
We got the PS1 games on deck too. Damn.
we have so many things that are
That's a good
old.
time.
We can do this.
Repping the old school stuff.
We can jerry rig something.
For me, it's the Sega Genesis. That'll be my legacy console.
Banger of a console.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got the
Very good.
age on you. So like, I started with the original.
Mel out here with the English
With the
dub.
original Atari, got Nintendo, the original NES, which this is my favorite story. I remember, one of my favorite childhood stories. I remember I really wanted the NES so bad. I was in 6th grade. My parents said if I make the honor roll, I'll get it for Christmas. I made the high honor roll. I got it. And then I never made the honor roll again.
Hell yeah. Priorities. Fucking priorities right there, man.
Yeah.
Priorities. Yep.
The little kid is like, I'm getting that. I'm getting that. For sure.
Yeah.
They set the bar so high. They were like, yes.
Honestly, speaking about the old VHS tapes, what I used to do. So I'm sort of like I grew up in New York and also West Virginia. I'd visit my grandparents in the summers in West Virginia, and they had bought me this Transformers the movie, the '80s movie, and it was just such a fantastic freaking movie. I would literally I was a bad kid. I would stay up all night until 4 o'clock in the morning, watching that movie because the music was so badass. But what was weird is that I was watching that movie and drawing Dragon Ball Z figures. So I don't know where it started merging, but just between Transformers and Dragon Ball Z, something clicked.
It was the same essence. It was the same essence. They both exuded the same masculine boy energy. That's what I know.
Yes.
So you know how
muscles and then Stan
you know
Bush
how
in the
Edwin said the
background?
movement and the swing?
What?
You heard David? No, I said that Edwin said the essence with the swing, the movement. That was the music.
Oh yes.
The music just made you want to.
I can still watch that movie. First of all, it's one of my all-time favorite animated films. I mean, I grew up, with Generation 1, had tons of figures. That was what I loved. But let me tell you, if you get me on a certain type of day, I will still cry the moment Prime dies. There's very few movies that can make me tear up, but to this day, it's Transformers, the '86 animated film, The Never-Ending Story, and and the end of Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. That is those 3 movies. You put them on, I'm going to be in tears, man. And
Return of the King had me drop real quick.
But that's the one movie I know every guy will tear up at the end when they're like, you bow to no one, and just that's when it falls. I watched that clip on YouTube. I don't know why, but it came up and I said, let me just watch it. And I'm sitting in bed and I watched 5 minutes of the film. And it got me again. Damn it.
Yep.
It was just that scene. I was like, that really sucks. But yeah.
It's great. It's great.
It's fantastic. But you guys, we have done over 2 hours tonight. I know all of us can totally chat for a lot longer. but I don't have AC in this room, so
Oh yeah.
I'm very I'm very getting uncomfortable now. So
This was the whole
yeah,
Comic Salon,
2 hours of the
2 hours.
whole Comic Salon. Yeah, listen, I mean, they didn't get everything. They didn't get the PowerPoint presentation. They don't know what.
No,
Oh,
no, it was a joke because we can go on
yeah,
for
no,
longer.
totally. And they're going to be new stuff. There's going to be new stuff there that they have to come to. So it's at the BeanRunner, which is a coffee place, I assume.
Yes.
Right.
Coffee brunch place.
It's a coffee and
Yeah.
restaurant. So they have they're not just brunch. They have
Oh yeah.
wine. They have really good food. I really like their
Yeah.
food
They're great
there.
over there.
And they also play music there too. They have bands
Oh,
play
nice.
sometimes, but we Carla Rae hosts a lot of these salons, so it's not just us just doing it this one time. Like Carla Rae does it every first Tuesday for us because June was kind of like a little bit busy because of open studios and just a lot of other things. We're doing it the
Mhm.
third Tuesday, so we're a little special, I
Yeah.
guess. um, no, but I've been to a few of her salons, and honestly, like she really does a great job with them. Like she keeps the things like fun and fresh, and just her personality. Like she's like if you see her work and then see her, maybe her performances may reflect her person because she's like very funny. But she's a killer of an
Oh yeah.
artist. She's so amazing. And she's dead serious. Like you see her personality, she's like a little
Yeah.
loosey goosey, but she is a dead serious artist.
That's
Yeah.
She's
She
great.
amazing.
her charcoals are so inspiring. I can't even
Yes.
describe them. She was the first person that I ever met who could draw black and white images and make them look realistic, and
Oh,
it inspired me to keep going and to push my charcoals even harder. Um, she's truly like a wonder and a blessing to this community. Uh, yeah, I know we're wrapping up. Should we do our final goodbyes?
in 1 minute, just for those who are going to be traveling up to this event, um, is this like how's the those driving? How's the parking? Is there a parking
Oh
lot
yeah, yeah.
on the
That's
street
that's
parking?
yeah.
But
That's a great question. So there is parking. If you look up the library, the Peekskill Library, it's called the Peekskill Field Library. Right across the street, there's parking, and there's always a lot of parking right there. There's also another one, and it's by the Sea Town. Um, I would say that is it's a little bit further. And the final place, which is I think is the best spot to park, which is I don't know what the lot is called. It might be like Lot C or something like that. But it's if you look up the subway in Peekskill, like the subway sandwiches in Peekskill, it's that parking lot right there. It's right next to the BeanRunner. So if I had to give you a spot to park, it would literally be right outside the subway, so it's easy to find. Right outside the subway, just park there, and it's literally like the shortest walking distance to the BeanRunner.
maybe you should just save that one offline for us. You didn't give that one
Sorry,
away.
sorry. Yeah, I
No,
did. I
I'm
didn't
kidding.
think of
I'm
it. It's
kidding.
like I had to get
Okay.
there because there's like a few
No,
locations.
it's totally cool. It's totally cool. So anyway, yeah, I'll let you guys give your goodbyes and then I'll do mine. So whoever wants to start.
I'll start my goodbye. But goodbye, everyone. You can find me on Enochseasel on Instagram. I'll have upcoming dates for my show coming up in August, and I will. If you'll be at the salon, I'll see you there.
Eli.
I feel like I left twice already, so this is my third goodbye. My third time's a charm. If you do want to see more of my work, you could check out my Instagram at Glash Monster. I also have my portfolio, which is Eli Hernandez art.squarespace.com because working on domain name. But I also stream on Twitch. I have taken a little bit of a hiatus just due to the summer being a little bit high volume with shows. But I should be starting my streaming journey again probably in the next maybe few weeks. I'll be working on my comics because that's the next thing I plan on doing that's a bigger project is that. And other than that, yeah, check out my Instagram. I'm very active on there. If you have any questions or if you just want some advice, I'm there. So, yeah.
David?
All right, guys. So I'll finish it off. So you can keep up with everything that I'm doing on my Instagram. I post on there a lot. I also post on X, and I also have a newsletter, which I haven't written the first newsletter of, which I'm working on. So for everybody who signed up for the newsletter, I'm working on it. I want to make it the first one a really good one before we start really producing it monthly. But because I'm a part of the bid and the PAA, if anybody has any ideas for the bid district that they want to pitch to the city, please feel free to come to me with ideas. If you're traveling from far away, I appreciate you coming down here. Or I guess, yeah, it would be coming up here because, you know, it'd be from New York or wherever. But yeah, so I want to mention that. I hope to see you at the salon. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to bring our portfolios, and remember that we're also going to be giving away a collector's art piece. So that collector's piece is going to be really cool. It's definitely the first time I've ever produced a postcard, and each of us have our own. So we're going to sign them for you. It's going to be a great night, and yeah, I can't wait to see you guys there.
Awesome. So for me, as you guys know, I always do my wrap up, you know, kidinacomic.com, Zorro and stuff, but I really want to focus on what's going on with me for the next few weeks. So I've been trying to get back into a weekly stream outside of Get in Tune. I haven't had the opportunity. That should be starting after Undiscovered Realm Con. So next week, you can find me at the Comic Salon with all these great people on June 17th. But then that Saturday and Sunday, you can find me at Undiscovered Realm Con. I'll be in the kids section. I'll be having a lot of fun selling some prints, my Wiz book, and a few other things I got going on. Oh, I got behind me. I don't know if I've ever showed this off on air. I'll do this really quick, really quick. Sorry, Wiz.
Michael, he's always so excited.
This right here, I got to illustrate a story in this. This is all in Portuguese. It's published in Portugal. My friend who did the cover of the not this Zorro book, the other one that I don't have next to me, Zorro Exploits.
Opportunity.
Just check it out. I got to illustrate this little vampire story.
Oh, it's cool.
I just got this.
Oh, that's
thing.
awesome.
It's just the cover page to the story. That's all that's mine in there. But I'm bringing 4 copies with me to Undiscovered Realm. And if you can read Portuguese, this is a great book for you. So yeah, we'll be at this, and I'm looking forward to hanging out with everyone in person. It's been a while since I've seen you guys in person. Looking forward to just hanging out with you guys, talking and sharing my love of comics with everybody who shows up. So, yeah, I will see you guys next week on Get in Tune, but hopefully I'll see you guys in person at hopefully both the Comic Salon and Undiscovered Realm Con. So with that, thank you guys for coming on. Always a pleasure chatting with all of you. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week.
Or the drink and draw.
Yes,
or the drink and draw. Michael.
Yes, I will come. I'll come.
I'll do my best. I will do my best to show up as well.
All right. Good night, everyone.